Howdy, Eric here, back with another standard video. This time, running it back with a list we played the other day, Beseech Tokens. Updated a little bit, not too many changes, very similar to the list we played last time. I just shifted one less Beza, one more Day of Judgment in the main, up to a full 4 Get Lost. And as for our mana base, once again, a little constrained by the wild cards that I have on Arena. Not a big deal. Playing or Temple of Silence today, but I think I would recommend Concealed Courtyards over the Temples of Silence. Won't be a huge game changer, but yeah, once again, just a quick overview of what the deck is trying to do. We're a toolbox utilizing Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing all of the with a bunch of like token generating sources, kind of a spin on the classic mono white tokens list that was pretty popular in the meta 6 months ago, a year ago or so. And instead of being a little one-dimensional and just trying to pop out tokens and generate infinite value and overwhelm your opponents that way, we also have access to this toolbox of not only board wipe effects in Beseech the Mirror, but Phoenix Fleet Airship, a new card from the latest Avatar set, one that can present a very, not fast clock, but resilient game finisher that really only really dies to Ultima right now in the current meta. So very difficult to answer if you get it going and you make a second token. Hi Maple. And that's my dog Maple. Other than that, haven't changed too much. We are up on 3 Voice of Victories in the sideboard. I think that could be an interesting option against control matchups. And other than that, the list is pretty much the same. We cut Grim Baubles for these Voice of Victories. I think we have enough early interaction in the 4 seam rips that we're playing. And yeah, let's run it back. Looks pretty good. And we'll jump into these games. Just got done recording Naya Reclaimer video, or Naya Wagon, I believe I called it on stream. I don't know. Had a pretty good run with that deck. If you haven't checked that video out, it does very powerful things. But today we're not wagoning people here. We're gonna grind them out with our little rabbits and allies and play matches that take a full hour each. So I'll be here. Welcome to my 5-hour video. We'll play 5 1-hour-long matches. Hopefully I am kidding. I think we'll keep this. We have access to a board wipe in Beseech the Mirror. And the reason I'm kind of high on this deck, by the way, right now, is if you've been on the ladder at all, it is just so jam-packed full of these Badgermole Cub lists that are just asking, they're just begging for it to be board wiped over and over and over. So that's what I'm hoping to do. And hopefully they can't do too much about that. Now, obviously, they can access these very fast starts. They're threatening a turn 3 Ouroboros, which is not unbeatable, but perhaps a little too fast for my current hand with them on the play. Really bringing the difference between play and draw here into clear focus. Grab a swamp. Just need to hit a 3rd land drop for our Beseech. Let's get our Tolls of War online. That would require us to shock. Maybe we just play a tapped land and pass. Let's just shock. We'll play our Tolls of War. We have the option of sacking for a clue next turn. And then if we draw like another tapped land, like our Temple of Silence, we can play that next turn. Hopefully survive into turn 4, but not necessarily likely. If you're not familiar with this card, Tolls of War, also from the latest Avatar set, enters, creates a clue. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent during your turn, create a 1/1 ally. So there's our additional mana source here. How do we even live into the next turn? I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. You'd have to have split up right here, I guess. Okay. All right. Well, at least we won't be here for 5 hours. Let's bring in our additional Day of Judgment. Malicious Eclipse can be pretty good on the play. Voice of Victory is a little interesting because they're on repulsive mutation typically, I think. But really, we just need to keep a hand with a little more removal. Strategic Betrayal is not very good. We can afford to go down one airship. I think if we get one going, it's probably going to be enough. Maybe go down a Caretaker's Talent. One of our key pieces, but it's a little slow. We could probably cut it Tolls of War for the same reason. Try it like that. Hopefully we don't just get anyone else tired of this Ouroboros Badgermole start already? Anyone else tired of it? It's not that like, yeah, we'll keep this. It's not like, it's very strong. Am I willing to call it busted quite yet? I don't know, but I think it's beatable. Let's go with the Temple of Silence here. Okay, we have our turn 4 Day of Judgment. It's beatable with hands like this, and if you're on the play, but if they are on the play, what are you supposed to do? Like always have Fire Magic in your opening hand, or split up, or I don't know. Getting a little bit tiresome, perhaps. I think we can greed out a Caretaker's Talent on this turn. Don't think we need to quite yet get lost anything. They tap out for the Void. We're pretty happy to just Day of Judgment. Take our 2 for 1 and go. But they may be representing a repulsive mutation here now. They're not going to swing. They're holding up their mutation. I guess I can make them use it. Maybe make them feel safe here. We have our backup Day of Judgment. We actually have so many Day of Judgments now. Okay, so they negate. Get rid of their negate. Fortunately for us, they're not on a board state where this is like we get negated and just lose. So I think that was okay to run that out. And worst comes to worst, we can Beseech the Mirror away the talent for our 3rd Day of Judgment. I'm just going to go for it again, I think. They have another negate, they have another negate. Yeah, we can dodge a land here. We need to see like a Tolls of War would be really, really nice here. Gene Pollinator. Counter on their guy. Pass it. Another Day of Judgment, okay. I'm fine with a little Caretaker's Talent action here. Maybe even get lost our own Caretaker's Talent just to get some things flowing. Another talent of theirs. They're getting pretty close to leveling up their talents all the way here. I think we just pass through all of this. I think I'm just going to get lost their Gene Pollinator. Oh, okay. Novice Inspector is a really good draw. Gives us a little blocker. Gets our talents online forever, basically, now. We can get lost the Pollinator. They'd have to have Spell Pierce here. No Spell Pierce. Okay, feeling pretty good. Pass it to you. Now we have infinite cards and Beseech for our ship, so we should be feeling pretty okay. Have some board wipes in hand as well. Malicious Eclipse could be good here. We could find a good window to Eclipse if they do this exactly. So that's nice. It'd be nice to draw an extra land. I suppose we just start with the Tolls of War. See what we draw off our talents here. Okay, more land. We'll hit them with the Malicious Eclipse. And I think we can afford to sack a clue here on our turn. Start making some 1/1s to block with. Fabled Passage is nice in this deck. Triggers the Tolls of War, triggers the airship. I'd really like to get the airship going, but I think we have to clean up the board every turn, basically. Yeah, we can just wipe the board and then an airship. They're probably getting pretty tired of this. I think I would if I were them. Oh, we drew it off the off the triggers. That's a little unfortunate. Not a huge deal. In that case, I suppose we grab a Beza and just get our life total back, or we could just tutor for an Elspeth, but I don't think we need to do that. Let's just grab a Beza. Get our life total a little higher here. A little awkward, that interaction there, but not the end of the world. Let's go for this Get Lost. Hope they don't have counter magic. Okay, they're tired of the removal. They've grown tired of it. Hey man, it's no offense, it's your fault for playing a deck that is just all creatures. Well, not just your fault exclusively, Milchew, however you pronounce that, but like, you gotta understand. I'm sure you're playing the mirror every other match, right? Is the mirror even fun, by the way? Is it just like a race for who gets the Ouroboros first every time? I don't know. The card is a bit polarizing. This is a good hand. Beseech for board wipe on 4. We have a token to sack with. We have some removal for their early plays. A little awkward here, not being able to seam rip right off the bat, but not a big deal. If we get planes off of this Fabled Passage, we can double seam rip next turn if we need to. They're doing the thing. They're technically holding up Repulsive Mutation with this mana, which is kind of interesting. They could also just negate this seam rip. Okay. So funny, isn't it? I don't know. It's a very strong deck. Junith. A pet recruit. Okay. So we can actually use the seam rip to bargain for our board wipe. So I think we just want a Novice Inspector redraw to maximize our odds of hitting the mana to be able to do this, but also we get to hold up Get Lost if that's relevant at all. Swing for 2. I'm down to block a rabbit. Not a big deal for me. Get Lost. Land. I'm not going to play around counter magic. They have 1 card in hand. Let's just send it. Do you have something? Sure, I mean, they have 1,000,000 mana now, but do you have something? They do. They do have something. Okay, unfortunate. We get to Beza next turn to stabilize a little bit. Rip an Ouroboros off the top? Come on, man. I'm trying to keep a positive attitude about all this. Oh god. Well, I could still just draw a board wipe. Be right back in this. Nope. Hmm. Really? 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 Last card was Repulsive Mutation. Okay. Okie dokie. Well, I hope they're having fun. Hope they're having fun with the deck. It does not, as much as I love green creature decks, it does not look fun, but I hope they are having fun. Let's keep this, because we're probably against the same deck. Were I to guess, were I a guessing man or a gambling man, I promise you, there's a great chance. It would be crazy. Would it be crazy? Has this ever happened to someone? I'm sure it has. Record like a 5-match video and they're just playing against the same thing every match. I know I sound like a negative Nancy here, but like, it's getting a little ridiculous. Blood Farm Verge, not the deck. Okay. Holding up some amount of counter magic, probably. Do I seam rip just to try to set up? It's a little... it's a little, what's the word? Obvious? Foretelling? Foreshadowing? I don't know. Just sending out the seam rip there. I think it makes a lot more sense too. Probably play a swamp. Cast this Novice Inspector. Set up the Beseech next turn. Maybe they tap out for stock up on their turn because they're missing land drops, maybe? No? I think I'll just continue to hold. I think there are reasons to leave the clue around, though. Go ahead and swing. I'll just cast a Beza. Wouldn't have gained me life if I didn't swing there anyway. Probably gets countered. No problem. Player land drop. Tap out for stock up. So if they don't have another blue source here, could be our signal to go for it. They might not have a great answer to the ships unless they're main decking Ultima, which is very, very possible. But I think we go for it. Make them have it. There's Ultima. Cool. Now, will they expect another one? We can't quite... Oh, we could do another one. Why not? I think going for it again makes sense here. Make them have another Ultima. Get a little window in where we sneak out a couple more airships. And then we can get our Tolls of War online here, hopefully. 3 steps ahead. Well, we get our Tolls of War here at least, probably. Can't quite make another flagship this turn. Airship this turn. I don't know why I keep saying flagship. Phoenix Fleet Airship. Play out the Fortress could be relevant. I think if we... Oh, they auto-tapped weird here. They might not. They might suffer a little bit for that, I think. I'm just going to sack a clue. I wonder if I'm supposed to actually like beseech for a caretaker's talent there. I'm not going to swing because if they're able to just like get lost in airship, I think we're losing out a little bit. Let's wait until we have a healthy number of airships before we start sending them in. Ultima. Pretty good. Yeah, kind of an unfortunate timing to be on something like this where Ultima's so strong in the meta already. Let's try to sneak this caretaker's talent through. Hopefully they only have no more lies. And I think we'll just pass. Wan Shi Tong. Pretty good against my Beseech the Mirror. They have a lot of cards. We could start generating a lot of cards here. Forcing me to search. Oh, I don't have to search. Then I won't. Interesting. Double Ultima in the main. Double Ultima. Not feeling that great in this position, to be honest with you. No more lies. Land. You see what you're doing, Blue-Green Orboroid, Badgermole Cub. You see what you're doing? You're making people play Ultima. And it's just like, it happens to be pretty good against the kinds of decks I've been playing lately. Maybe we'll just see a spike in Ultima. I can scoop this one up, I think. It could be a little premature, but they're drawing so many cards and being able to deny my mana now is pretty strong. Cut. Team Rip's not bad because it kills Wan Shi Tong. Let's cut a couple Get Lost, maybe. We can cut the board wipes. Go up Akaya. Bring in the Voice of Victories. Okay, our sideboard plan looks okay, I think. Yeah, I think this looks okay. Go down a land? I know we're on the play, but we've kind of reduced our curve a little bit. Cut a Realm of Co, maybe. They're on this, like, Demolition Field plan anyway. I don't think Realm of Co is going to be doing too much here. Even though it's, like, generically good in the matchup, it would normally be generically good in the matchup, maybe, but otherwise here. A fine hand. Otherwise here with all the Demolition Field, they're probably on, like, 4 Demolition Field. It seems kind of weak. Or at least not better than a basic. Mulliganing. Down to 6. Lead on a Godless Shrine. Tapped. Carrot Cake Rabbits will put some pressure in early here. Temple of Silence, not the worst draw. Dodge on some lands here. Bowls of War, nice. I'm just gonna make them have it. If they counter this, they might tap out next turn for like a stock up, since they're low on cards. Get lost my Tolls of War, interesting. Not the end of the world. I guess we suit up a rabbit here then. Another Beseech the Mirror, sure we'll take it. Their hand could just be full of like stock ups and stuff, you know? The Beseech the Mirror could be pretty good. Swing in for 2. If they have Wan Chi Tong, they can get me on this Fabled Passage crack, but then I can just seam rip them. Give up a map, no problem. Negate, okay. Currently winning the race. Continue to swing in with my rabbit. If they want to fire up the anchorage and block, that's fine. Let's hit them with the inspector this turn and hold up a rabbit perhaps. Or sack the clue, sack a clue, make them think about Ultima here maybe. We can pass on another seam rip. They could like Wan Chi Tong for 2, consult. Consult's not bad. Kind of not doing a whole lot, but we are winning the race. We're winning the race, whatever that means. We're hitting them. Alright, let's just make another rabbit and continue to swing in. Dodge a land. We can just sack these clues. Which is pretty nice through an Ultima here. Beza. Okay. I think we'll crack both the clues and then give up a rabbit to our Beseech the Mirror. Tolls of War is nice. Okay, airship, interesting. Voice of Victory, that's looking pretty good. So let's say they have like another No More Lies, which they really could have. And we lead on Voice of Victory, play an airship. We don't have a way to sack. We could Voice of Victory, Beseech for airship, and then they have Ultima. And then we're kind of back to square one. I think getting a Tolls of War on the field is a little better than those options. Kind of tough. Maybe we just send it with a Beseech here. Might just get through, and then we play a Tolls of War. I guess we could have played a Tolls first, but I think this is a little better. They may have like a Spell Pierce, I'm not really sure. We'll just get our ship online. Maybe Kaya would be better. So they negate the ship, makes me pull a ship out of my deck. Pretty smart. I'm going to go Tolls of War because it lets me have a clue to sack on the same turn I play the airship. They can't have everything, right? These matchups are really tough, but they can't have everything, you know? They have cards, but they could have 3 lands and a No More Lies, right? Or 3 lands and another Beza. Like, their hand could be garbage. So at a certain point, you just have to play your cards, and you know, the chips will fall where they fall. Beza looks kind of good here. I'm going to play the Voice of Victory. This is a little weak to counter magic, or sorry, a little weak to Ultima, but they might just have to counter it. They do counter it, and they create a token that's a copy of Beza to draw, but they won't draw if I sack my... No. They will draw. They will draw and gain some life. But if they draw, then I get to draw off of my Beza. I think I can swing in with a rabbit. Get some fish off of my own Beza. Okay. Kind of interesting. Kaya's a good draw, I think. Another variety of threat here. Stock up. What do they even want? What do they even want? Well, this is kind of a juncture where we can resolve something. I think getting their Beza off the field with our Kaya seems pretty good. Wait. Oh, okay. Target the fish. Target the Beza. Make the fish a copy of fish. Swing with Beza. And honestly, I think I jam airship here because it blocks their restless anchorage. And if they have counter magic, they have counter magic. But like, keeps our Kaya alive if they don't. Get lost the Kaya. So now we're weak to the Ultima. Unfortunately. But we are threatening a pretty decent attack next turn. Stock up. Maybe they don't have Ultima. Or maybe they do. I guess they have to cast this first regardless. They still have the mana for Ultima. A little frustrating. Land for turn. And Big Daddy Boom Sauce. Nothing we can do. What would we like to see? Novice Inspector is pretty good. Gives us a redraw, triggers our Tolls of War. Another Tolls of War is kind of nasty. I think we just do it now. Carrot Cake is a great draw. Okay. We're still kind of in this. Not a whole lot they can do about the Tolls of Wars. Oh, yeah. Hit them with the duress. See what they got going on here. Left walking. Big Wan Shitong. Big Wan Shitong into some demolition fields, but we have Seam Rip for their Big Wan Shitong. Scry into a Caretaker's Talent. Looks good. Maybe we can bait a block. They're just going for big. Okay, fine. I don't know if that's right. I mean, they draw a lot of cards, but I don't know that that's right. Seam Rip your Wan Chi Tong. Crack our Carrot Cake. Leave the talent on top again. Talent, we don't quite have enough mana to do it all, unless we draw a land off of the talent's activation. Even then, not sure. They probably have another big Wan Chi Tong in their hand. Go for the Caretaker's talent. Consult the star charts, digging for a counterspell. Weft Walking. I just totally glazed over this, by the way. Enters if you cast it, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library, then draw some cards. First spell each player casts during each of their turns may be cast without paying its mana cost. Weird. They're going again. Consult the star charts. Damn. Kind of an interesting turn. Used a few resources there, but accumulated quite a lot for themselves as well. Beza. Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm winning this one, folks. Beza's pretty good. They just have so much action and they have so much time. More importantly, because I'm a very slow deck, they have so much time to just develop their mana and have access to these big multi-spell turns, which basically just locks me out of the game. Okay, unfortunate 0-2 start. Unfortunate 0-2 start. Well, I said at the top that I'd hoped to run into more of the blue-green go wide list because of the amount of board wipes we're running, but I lost to that in round 1 too, so still could clean it up with a 3-2. Here against McFish. See what you're on, buddy. Seam Rip Caretaker's talent. 5 lands. A little slow. Could be fine. I mean, we want to see Seam Rip early, right? There's a lot we could draw that could get our engine going here. Lead on a Courtyard. Beza's not bad. 10 we have something at instant speed, perhaps. Okay, it's the deck. Not a whole lot they can do about Caretaker's talent into Beza here. Beastbinder only hits artifacts, creatures, or planeswalkers, so once again, being mostly on enchantments here, comes in a bit clutch. Tyvar. Shocking themselves here means I'm not going to gain life off of Beza, but really it's the tokens and the blockers that's important anyway. Day of Judgment is interesting. The Tyvar is quite good into it. I think I'd like to make tokens and have access to drawing another card next turn. Another Seam Rip. We're at the point in the game where my somewhat suboptimal Temple of Silences are looking better than Courtyard at the very least, but I guess we could have played this earlier had it been a Courtyard. It all evens out. It's all a wash. Copies my Beza. Okay. Swings in. Threatens to give Tyvar indestructible, but with my board wipe in hand, I think I'll just take the bait. Oh, But he could give it indestructible twice, which is a little annoying. Okay, I guess I just won't block. I'll block with the token. Keep my life total high, keep my options open here. Another Day of Judgment. Tyvar, a little bit of a pain here. Roll up. Copy the fish. Get lost, not bad. We can seam rip here on the Beast Binder. Get lost an Ouroboros if they play one. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Flying Bez is a little scary. But I should be able to clean it up here pretty soon. Hopefully I can... I'm not going to pass on another Get Lost. Hopefully I can find a window to take out the Tyvar as well if they tap out. Ouroboros. Okay, so this should be it. This should be the window. They're going to swing with the Beza. I can kill the Ouroboros and then kill the Tyvar with a board wipe. Give everything else up in the process, but it'll be okay. Block my Beza? No, block a token. Jam. Play a land. Pass it to you. We're in a pretty good spot. Good suite of removal on our hand still. Would like to see another piece of our engine here. Bowls of War. Would even be okay with like a Beseech the Mirror. I don't think I would mind getting rid of the seam rip at this point. Top patch. Map. Land. Map. Classic play pattern. Runith. Fabled Passage. I guess we could level up the talent. Not a whole lot of reason not to do that. Pass it back to you. Hold the Fabled Passage crack, hopefully, in case we draw a Phoenix Fleet Airship. Or a Tolls of War. Not feeling too threatened quite yet. I think I'd rather just clean these things up with another Day of Judgment here soon. Another paw patch. I'm kind of surprised they didn't offspring this, but maybe they have another 2-mana play for this Drunith. Innkeeper's Talent. Okay. Well, we're just going to Day of Judgment. And I can seam rip the Innkeeper's Talent. I think that's better than wasting the Get Lost right now. Would still like to draw some action. There we go. I'd say this thing is looking a little locked up now. Draw a card. Sack this. Start getting some 1/1s online. 3/3s rather. Swamp. Cool. Feeling good. We can kill this. We can deal with this. If we so choose. Seam rip here. In response to the tap. Get lost. Okay. Feeling pretty good. Carrot cake. Yeah. We got it. We got it. And now we can block a Ouroboros forever, basically. I'm just gonna run this out because I kind of feel like they might scoop to it. Not quite. We can shock ourselves. We can play the carrot cake. Another get lost. Heck yeah. Hold the get lost. Yeah, it probably just makes more sense to draw another card on their turn here rather than you get an extra 1/1. I guess it's a choice between a 1/1 or another card. Tons of Innkeeper's Talents. They're dead if we draw another Caretaker's Talent. I think. Sack, draw twice. Another Tolls of War, good. All right. Well, this one's in the books. In the books. Just playing both out. All right, cool. GG's. Felt good. I know what we've been wanting to do here. Let's bring in the Malicious Eclipse on the draw. Go down an airship. Maybe we've seen that we need to keep 2 in our deck. Elspeth could be good. Bez is good. Talent and tolls. Let's just go down the grind a little bit. We just need an opener that has turn 4 board wipe, basically. Ideally some seam rips to get us there. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, if they just do the thing, they do the thing, you know? There's not really much we can do about that anyway, if they're on the play. Seam Rip is a great draw. Lead on this Verge, or the Shrine here. Seam Rip is kind of the perfect draw. Keeps them from really getting out of hand with a Badgermole. Guess I seam ripped this. It could make some things awkward later. I don't know. Could make some things awkward later. Thankfully, they're off to a slow start. Plus, seam ripping this gives me the option of having a Beseech for Day of Judgment if I need to. You guys think I should move my camera, by the way? If I'm here, now I'm like mostly... No, I guess it's mirrored. I don't know what to do with this. This feels kind of right. Off topic, I know. Whoa, what happened? Pretty good response. I guess we Temple of Silence, and we seam rip this again. Not a whole lot we can do here. Opens up the Beseech the Mirror plan again. And like if they play a board Ouroboros, I think I have to Beseech. Although Bez I could hold things off for another turn, and I can use a token to Beseech at that point. Leave them off of. Okay, Get Lost is not bad. I think they probably have a Repulsive Mutation. Play a Verge. I think I just pass here. make them mutate on their turn. I'm just going to go for it. If they have mutation, they have mutation. They have nothing. They are F6'd. No stops. Arena's so weird with that sometimes. They've just given me the information that they're not, in fact, on any kind of permission right now. I mean, Basil looks pretty good. Not much to think about here. Player land first. It doesn't really matter. Does not really matter. What do you say, McFish? What do you say? We're looking pretty good. We now have tokens to access for our Beseeches, and we can go get our flagship going. Airship. I keep calling it a flagship. Phoenix Fleet Airship online to kind of threaten closing out the game if they don't commit anything here. Backup Beseech for a board wipe if we need it. Carrot cake. Let's just go for the Beseech. I think it's pretty good here. It blocks really nicely here, actually. And I don't think they're threatening a huge attack next turn. Play the carrot cake now. Give us another permanent to sacrifice next turn. Actually, we also have this Fabled Passage, so we have all of the tools we need to, like, get the airship fleet fully online. We just need to focus on not dying, I suppose, in the short term. And we have access to a Beseech for a board wipe, which is good even if they have a Tyvar. Like, if they just try to race us now by dumping everything onto the board, we'll keep a talent. By dumping everything onto the board, we just board wipe anyway. They keep a Tyvar around, but that's not enough to win the game. They're reading cards. They're reading cards. What do you say, McFish? Is it good? Okay, well, they're doing the thing. Still just get to board wipe them. We get to board wipe them and put a talent on the field, although maybe it's better to keep a blocker. There's no reason not to swing with a Beza, but I think they'll block it. And I don't think it super matters anyway. Cool. Let's get our talent, let's get our talent here online. It'll draw us a card off of the airship trigger, which is kind of nice. And then we're actually getting close to maybe maybe we're almost in a position where we just kill them next turn. with our flyers if we can generate enough tokens to block with and get the Anthem online. Or sorry, tokens to crew with and get the Anthem online. I don't think that's going to happen, but... Sabsunen, sexy frog god. Let's hold on the carrot cake sack to draw a card on their turn. We can copy an airship here, I suppose. Maybe we should have just done that right off the bat. And I'm pretty sure they're not on board wipes. Yeah, we'll just pass. Wait, did I sack a clue? No, I don't think I did. I have to sack a clue. Okay, that was close. I don't think you can beat it. Hey, it looks like there's more than one deck in the format that can produce a ridiculous amount of permanents on the field at light warp speed. Creatures on the field at warp speed. Yeah, that's right. It's like turn 15 maybe. But this is warp speed, baby. Turn 13 or something. I don't know. GG. GG, McFish. Get airshipped. Get airshipped. I know. These creatures have flying. These creatures have flying. Alright, 1 and 2. 1 and 2? Feeling pretty good-ish. Wouldn't mind running into that matchup a little more, I think. Oolong Tea, my old friend. Played against Oolong Tea quite a bit. Let's keep this. Pretty solid. As a Beseech. Curves out okay. Double tolls is really nasty. Lead on the temple here. We'll take a talent. I don't know what match this is. I mean, they have the lightning bolt sleeves, but... okay. Oh no. Jeskai control. We'll just get our tolls going. If we can get 2 on the field, they may have a really tough time dealing with it. I'm going to assume they're on Ultima, because I think you kind of have to be in these kinds of lists right now. Jeskai. By the way, the temple, I think, is just better than, like, shadowy... I can't... The Surveil land. We don't have any reason to put things in our graveyard in this deck. We're not collecting evidence or anything like that. And if we have a Day of Judgment that we want later, but not right now, it's more important to put it back in the deck, or a Phoenix Fleet Airship. It's more important to keep it in the deck. Just a small optimization thing. Not saying this is better than Concealed Courtyard still necessarily, but just something to keep in mind if you also don't have the Concealed Courtyards. Let's get a little greedy. We'll go for a second one. You got a counterspell? Nope. Alright, the engine is online. This is the engine. Can you beat it? 2 tolls of war. Yo! They're trying something spicy. They're trying to cast some Ancestral Recalls in their little control list here, huh? That's cool. Keep it simple. Crack a clue. Play a Novice Inspector. Missing our land drop here, unfortunately. Doorkeeper Thrall. Interesting. Are they going to cast a Flage now on me? I kid. I jest. What a weird list so far. Why the Doorkeeper Thrall? It's okay against the Cub, but it doesn't seem that good. Wouldn't mind a window for a little Beseech for our flagship airship. I guess we get a talent down now. It's a little better than sacking a clue, I think. I think it might keep us off of... The Thrall might keep us off of our 1/1 tokens triggering a talent, unfortunately. They're swinging in. We have a Day of Judgment. Oh. We just get to seam rip the Thrall. Nice. Okay, that's no problem. We still have a Day of Judgment. We're gonna take our draw here anyway. I don't think we'll get a draw off the clue, but we won't draw off the talent. Play our land drop. I think we can swing in for 2. I don't think there's any reason not to. Chumperoni. See what they got going on. Not quite enough lessons still. Oculus, interesting. Do they have Spell Pierce? Part of me doubts that they have Spell Pierce. But if they do and we swing out, we could be a little punished. So I'm just going to wipe the board now. Cool. Tap Godless Shrine. Bezo looks good next turn if they develop even more. Cool list. I don't... I like Helping Hand with the Zenith. I think that's an interesting option. Yeah, well, I guess we just wipe the board again. Give up one of our Tolls of War. Not a huge deal. Maybe we should be on some main deck graveyard hate. That could be interesting. Scoops it up. All right. Fair enough. Bring in our Rest in Peace. Bring in Strategic Betrayal. Seems pretty good. The rest could be okay. Hi, Maple. The rest could be okay. Doge looked pretty good. Keep in the Doges. Let's bring in the Duresses. I kind of feel like over the Seam Rip, like we don't care about the Thrall that much. Over the Seam Rip, I think being able to hit their counter magic and then wipe the board is going to be a more important play pattern to have access to. Probably go down our grind just a little bit. Maybe cut the Inspectors. Eh, 3 Day of Judgments is probably okay. I think we still want 2 airships to be able to actually win the game. And let's just go down to 2 Soul Guide Lanterns. Doesn't seem that important. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe I am wrong. Maybe that's a little silly with all of the stuff they showed me in game 1 there. Not a great hand, not a terrible hand. Beseech is a decent draw, I think. They kept a 1-lander, so we should be in the clear. Okay. Oh, Concealed Courtyard. Spell Pierce? Nope. All right, didn't demonstrate a whole lot. Game 1 looked good. Unfortunately for our opponent, decided to keep a pretty rough hand. And we'll wrap that one up. 2-2 overall. Back from the brink. Still have a chance to secure that sweet, sweet 3-2 record. I think the deck looks pretty decent. It's, I don't love that the proactive game plan is not very fast compared to a lot of the decks I've been playing, but you can just rip a turn 3 or turn 4 Beseech for the airship, and that doesn't win the game on the spot necessarily, obviously, but like presents a pretty hard to deal with. What is this art? I've never seen this in my life. Pretty hard to deal with threat. See him rip the elf, hit our Temple of Silence, plan to play talent next turn. And then we could just besiege for an airship, get rid of the seam rip. Seems kind of okay, depending on how developed they become here. Oh, it's a cage deck. Nice. We'll see what they're up to. I'm feeling pretty good about this start, actually. Airship in the hand would have gone nice with that Fabled Passage we just saw, because you can Fabled Passage and then play the airship on turn 4 and trigger the airship. Another cage. Seems poor, given their board state. Let's just play the carrot cake. Gives us good targets to access for our Beseech next turn. Beza seems like a fine draw overall in this kind of matchup. I'm going to guess they're on some kind of like allies list here, actually. Seeing the blue cages, Druneth. Cage. Not a particularly strong turn. Day of Judgment is a good draw overall, generally speaking. I think we just go for our airships here. Right? We don't have removal to hold up. Sacrifice a rabbit. Threaten the board wipe next turn. We're missing a land drop, which stinks a little bit, but I think I like this option best. Draw off the talent, get another board wipe. Not a whole lot they can do unless they just outright combo. But even if they have the combo, it doesn't necessarily mean they win on the spot, nor does it mean they don't lose to a board wipe. Cool. Cirrus. Peter Parker, little Peter Parker action. Haven't seen a whole lot of this guy in Standard. Excited to see it doing some stuff here. Do you cage now? Do you cage later? Cage now. What you got? Or a Boroid would be kind of nasty. Okay. Well, this board does not do anything against us, fortunately. Do I give up a ship to save 4 life? I don't think so, because I don't think I'm going to be able to trigger it next turn anyway. I think I'd rather not give up the ship, but I can block with a rabbit. No harm there, I think. Another Day of Judgment. I'm not going to get greedy here. Just going to wipe the board. Move on with my life. Another Druneth. Seems kind of neat with the Collector's Cage. Gene Pollinator. Nice to meet you, Gene. Cage on Druneth, cage on Pollinator. Doing all of this at sorcery speed, of course, for another cage. Not sure why they're choosing to do this all at sorcery speed. I'm sorry. Be nice to get the airships going. I think next turn we might have a nice window to Tolls of War. Zurus. Cool. Cage. Cage. Where's Jack Black, Cage? Kid, a kid. Okay. I can Beza, and I can sack this Fabled Passage, so I'm going to do that. We get a treasure if we hold the Fabled Passage here. Draw a card off this token entering. Sack now. If I hit them right now for 8 in the air, they're dead next turn. There's nothing I can really do about what they're doing if they have some kind of crazy combo anyway, so I might as well hit them. I suppose I might as well play another blocker. I can't see a reason not to. Pretend I have removal, but sometimes if you pretend you have removal, you know, you're going to lose to other kinds of outs of theirs. Ouroboros, don't care. Kind of cool with the cage, though. In a long, grindy matchup, I suppose. A little awkward for them here. They can't, like, cage the Ouroboros and get whatever is under this. I think I'm doing just fine, gang. Alright, heading off to game 2. Swing in the air. Yep. Heading off to game 2. Looked pretty good. Another sort of greedy flood the board kind of deck. Seems pretty fragile to our Day of Judgments here. We want to bring in more than the 4th Day of Judgment. Voice of Victory might be okay. Is that crazy? Yeah, it's probably crazy. They're probably only on a couple spell pierces or something, but... The Malicious Eclipse could be okay too. Let's bring in the Eclipse. We'll go down 1 talent, 1 tolls. Try it like that. Try it like that. Seems fine. I think against this kind of deck, it's really important just to deal with the mana dork turn 1. Not only because they could have, you know, they could be stuck on 1 land, obviously, but this deck specifically is very built around its 3 drops if it's like the classic sort of cage build. And it seems like it's a little closer to that than anything. Just play a tapped Restless Fortress. Pass it back to you. We have our wipe the board play, sacking the Seam Rip. Just shock in, play our talent. Make them have something good and cool. Elspeth looks pretty good right now. Origin of Metal Bending. Okay, they have 3 creatures on the field now. They go for the cage. They cast nothing. They pass. Weird. I'm gonna go for more of a conservative line here. I'm just gonna hit the cage, I think. I'm gonna hit the token, and here's why. Takes off their power overall, makes them play out another creature for the cage to trigger. And yeah, that's mostly it. And my Seamrip becomes a pretty good target for Beseech now, which I'm just going to wipe the board. Not much to think about here. Set up pretty nicely for our Elspeth next turn. 3-2. Gene Pollinator. Hello, Gene. Nice to see you again. Big fan of this card. I don't think anyone expected this to be as big of a player in Standard as it clearly is. Make some dudes, draw some cards. Pass the turn. Maybe I should have copied a soldier there and threatened a pretty big attack next turn, but should be doing okay. Ouroboros. I'd say this one's pretty locked up, folks. All right, pretty good runnings. After a slow start, 0-2, managed to clean things up here. Winning 3 in a row. We'll go ahead and swing here first. Not anything they can do about this. Draw our cards. Yep. All right, GG's. Good run. Nice showing from the deck. I liked the updates we made. I think this seems like a good build into the meta that we're seeing right now. And even though we lost the first match against the explosive blue-green version, I think overall the deck is still quite solid into that, outside of them having the nuts. So maybe if you really expected that they'd be on, that they're going to, like, if you expect to run into this at your local meta quite a lot or something, it seems very reasonable that you could just play some amount of split ups alongside of your Day of Judgments to hedge against those really difficult to answer early Ouroboros boards where they're just pumping everything out on turn 3, and then you untap turn 3 and you're just like, my Day of Judgment, you know? So split up could be a good solution to that. I thought the deck grinded really well. We looked really bad in the blue-white control matchup. How do you solve that? I don't know. We currently have the Voice of Victories in the side to sort of help hedge against that, but maybe they just don't do enough. One card I'm kind of curious about, and maybe it's a bit of a meme. You can give me your thoughts on this if you'd like. Valor's Flagship as an answer in white decks to those big control decks, where you never cast it as a vehicle. You just use its cycling ability, which is uncounterable, to, at the end of their turn, say you're like a million turns in, make 7 tokens or whatever, and then like buff them with the Caretaker's Talent and swing. I think it's kind of an interesting idea. If you were to ever try one, I think you would only do the one, as you know, you're really like really late game sort of answer to those matchups. But I don't know, tough matchup. Anyway, 3-2, pretty good. I'll probably try this deck again in the future. Hopefully we can get like a 5-0 at some point. But for now, thanks for watching. I'll be brewing around with more avatar cards in the future. I just want to show you something I'm working on. For those that stuck around this far, it's labeled Project Delny in my list here. Now, does it look like a pile? Yeah, it looks like a pile. It's very tentative right now. One of Craterhoof Behemoth, but let's talk about the idea of what's going on here in Project Delny. So it's a Abzan list focused on the interactions between Badgermole. I know, joining the ranks of the Badgermole players, hopping on the train, taking it as kind of a different angle where I'm less interested in the mana it produces, which is good, obviously with our gene pollinators here as well, but more interested in this idea of it produces, it's a 2 mana 2/2 that ramps, but also it. Do you mind, Maple? Do you mind? Do you see my dog back there? Come here. But also it, hi, say hi. It makes 2 bodies, right? And if you sacrifice the Earthbent land, it comes back. So it's another landfall trigger. So all of these ideas swirling around in my head here comes back to Delny in combination with Iridescent Vinelasher, which if you have a Delny on the field and you play an Iridescent Vinelasher with Offspring, you get 2 lizards, which then if you play a Fabled Passage and you fetch, that's 12 damage to the face out of nowhere, which is not enough to kill your opponent, but for how cheap everything is and how otherwise decently interactive everything is, you can see why it could be kind of a point of interest. So I had this thought in my head last night, where you can go turn 1 Gene Pollinator, right? And this is a busted start, sure. Turn 1 Gene Pollinator, turn 2 Badgermole Cub, in this case using it for its mana. And then tap the Gene Pollinator, play an Umbral Collar Zealot, which you can do with the mana. You can't play a Bartolome, but you're playing a sack outlet. So turn 1 Pollinator, turn 2 Cub Zealot, okay? Turn 3, if you go Delny into Offspring, you have 6 mana. You untap with 6 mana. Crazy, right? Sorry. Yeah. You untap with 5 mana. You untap with 5 mana. Oh no. Okay. We're close. We're close to something, but you're close to some turn where you're able to is that 5 or 6? Because your land becomes the doubler. So you have 5 mana. Okay. But you're very close to a turn where you can like play the Delny, Offspring your Iridescent Vinelasher, and then with the Sacrifice Outlet, get additional landfall triggers from your Badgermole Cub. So you may need a second Badgermole Cub for the turn 3 play to happen. But that's okay. It's all magical Christmas land. I know. Bad deck combos, whatever. But yeah, if you have the second Badgermole Cub, turn 3 you can go Badgermole Cub, have 6 mana without playing a land drop, and then go Delny, Offspring, Offspring Iridescent Vinelasher, play a Fabled Passage, get them for 12, and then sacrifice both of the lands to the Umbral Collar Zealot that you played earlier to trigger the lizards 2 more times and kill your opponent. So that's just kind of like an interesting idea. I don't know. Other things that kind of play well in there, I kind of think Beifong's Bounty Hunters does something interesting there too. Because if you have a sack outlet, basically what this says is not only are you getting double triggers off your sacks, basically every time you sack something you earthbend, which gives you another thing to sack. It also gives you more landfall triggers once again with this Iridescent Vinelasher. So I think if you just have these like really interesting boards that you've developed after some amount of turns, with Delny and Unblockable and Vengeful Blood Witch and sack outlets, you can create these like big lethals that are very hard to deal with outside of board wipes, and that that are not only hard to deal with, but like lethal through anything basically. It doesn't matter if they have blockers because your Delny's giving stuff unblockable. It doesn't matter if they had a really high life total, that might be important, but with the Blood Witch and with the Vinelasher, you might just kill your opponent with those triggers alone. So I think there's something here. And Sandbender Scavengers with a Delny on the field very easily gets big enough to reanimate a Craterhoof, which you could just do. I don't know. It's it's all like Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny on the chalkboard, like but that's something I'm gonna cook up here pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, once again, thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.